Okay, hello everybody. This is the Gaming Champ back again with another deck tech. I have built a few more decks lately, and I did get a chance to try those out. So my friend and I spent all day yesterday building and tweaking and basically trying to make good decks, and we came up with a few good ones. So hopefully you guys will like them. The first one we're going to do is something I'm calling Lightly Cloudy with Wind and Fire. And that's a very, very dumb name, as you'll find out. It is very spot on with everything. So, first thing we're going to do is just go over our forwards in the deck. Okay, so it is, if you can't tell by the name, it's a light wind and fire deck. So we'll go ahead and get started here. The first card I have is the legendary Zidane from the first set. I only have two of them, so I'm using a copy of the one drop Yuffie as a placeholder. Sorry about the glare a little bit there, but it should work out. So this Zidane is a very good, just baseline card. He's hexproof, so he can't be chosen by summons or abilities of your opponents, and he can't be blocked by a forward of cost 4 or more. So he's just very efficient, and just a very good card to have to be in your deck, and you can just attack through a lot of things. We were finding that in the playtesting, this guy was really annoying because he couldn't just use a summon or something to kill it. So it's very, very useful. Now, if you have some mass removal, it gets rid of it, things like that. But other than that, it's a very, very good card, and it's quite hard to find. As I said before, I've in some of my previous videos, I've opened, I don't know, something like 4 or 5 boxes of set 1, and I still only have 2 of them. So I am looking for one more. I should hopefully find one. I'm going to be going to a tournament on Tuesday. I think I'm going to be playing a different deck than this one, but I do like this one. So anyway, that's our first card. Our next 2 cards are one-ofs, and I put them in here because, they're for a specific reason. But the first one here is this 2-drop Cloud. That's a common from set 1. Literally, you'll almost never play this onto the field. This is simply for the S ability of one of the other clouds that we have in here. Same thing with the 3-drop Cloud. I did choose 2 different ones. That way, if you got in a situation where you had to put them out there to attack or block, they did different things. So the 2-drop, if you control another Final Fantasy VII forward, he gets 2,000 power. He's a 2-drop for 5, so he's pretty powerful regardless. And then when he enters the field, you choose a forward your opponent controls, and it deals at 2,000 damage. So, if they've got some annoying guy that you got to get rid of, you can play it out there and then just block with it, and hopefully you'll get the good Cloud at some point. The 3-drop Cloud has another, if you control a Final Fantasy VII character or forward other than Cloud, he gains Brave. He's a 3-drop for 7,000, which is really good. And then you can dull him to give an attacking forward 2,000 power till end of the turn. So just, a couple minor things. You could play 2 of the same one. You could play, 2 different Clouds if you really wanted to. I just kind of chose a couple of them and threw them in there. One of the things that might need to change in this deck is you might need to add a couple more copies of Cloud. And there's, I don't know, 7 or 8 of them in the whole game, so it wouldn't be hard to find a couple of them. But those are just basic ones. The other one, by the way, is a common from set 3. And before we go a little bit farther here, I will have the deck list along with the breakdowns and all of the serial numbers for each of the cards in the description. So you will be able to look those up if you want to try building this deck. All right, so the next card, I've found that I really, really like this card, and it was in one of the other decks that I built. But I threw 2 copies in here. It's this other Zidane the Heroic from set 3. I don't think I have to talk too much about this because everybody knows how good this card is. So when he comes into play, you look at your opponent's hand and choose a card for them to discard. And then he gets plus 4,000 power if your opponent has 2 or less cards in hand. Just a very efficient card. I love that card. It annoys people to no end. And it's very good for, if you want to try to attack through a few things, but you're not sure if they have a summon or, a guy that, an ability that might hurt you. You can lead by playing that guy out there, and then hopefully you can take whatever out of their hand to let you get through with that attack. The next one kind of follows the theme of the first Zidane there, and it's this Yuffie. It's a rare from set 1. It's a 3-drop for 6,000, which is about average, but she can't be blocked by forward of cost 4 or more, so same thing as Zidane there. One of the cool things about her is her S ability. Is you discard one of her and you tap her, or dull her, and you choose up to 3 forwards and divide 6,000 damage among them. And basically however you want, but they have to be in increments of 1,000. So she can kind of clear out a couple smaller guys or one big guy, and let you attack through. And normally what I use this for is, since they can't be blocked by 4 or more, usually the 4 cost ones will have 7 or 8,000 power, so you can't kill them with this, but you can kill maybe 1 or 2 of the smaller guys so that you can get through. Just a very efficient card, very good, very good. I have another one of here. It's this Vaan. I've been considering replacing this one with a Cloud because I think it's probably more in line with what the deck wants to do. But this one is kind of good. It does allow you to bring backups back to your hand and use them again. So essentially when Vaan attacks, choose 1 forward you control. You may return a backup of cost 2 or less you control to its owner's hand. If you do so, activate the forward. So you can attack with Vaan and then go, okay, well, I'm going to return this to my hand and activate him so I can block next turn. So just a nice little trick there. I only have 1 copy of Vaan in here, so, I can't use his S ability, which is activate all your wind forwards, or wind characters, rather. So, it's not terrible, but it's not as efficient as it could be. I'm noticing that my hands are in focus, but the cards are a little out of focus. I don't know. Anyway, we'll figure it out. All right, the next card I have a 2 of, and it serves a very specific purpose. It is Fang. It is a set 1 rare, and she's a 4 cost for 7,000 attack, and when she attacks she gets first strike, which is pretty good. But her other ability is the one I really care about, and that is the one where she gives... she makes card name Bahamut cost 2 less, and I am running some Bahamuts in here. We'll get into that in a little bit. The next card is the namesake of the deck, and this will probably surprise no one, but here's the 4-drop Light Cloud from set 1. It is a legendary. It is very, very hard to find, so I apologize for this one. This one's a little more on the high end of legendaries. This deck is, so if you have trouble building it, don't worry. I've got some other ones planned that are a little more budget friendly, so I apologize for the fact that this one's got a lot of legendaries in it. But anyway, so this Cloud is just very efficient. 4 drop for 8,000 power. He's got Brave naturally, so you can attack with him and use his abilities. He's got 2 S abilities. We did go over this a little bit, but in one of my other videos. But his first one is very, very awesome, especially considering you have Zidane and Yuffie that can't be blocked by 4 or more characters that cost 4 or more. He has an ability: pay 1, discard 1 of a Cloud, and tap him to do 4,000 to all the forwards your opponent controls. So if they have some little weenie guys out there to block, you could just clear them all out and then attack with your little guys here that can't be blocked by their bigger guys. And then his other one is Omni Slash, which is pay 3, discard 1 of him and dull him, and just break a forward. So very, very good card. The namesake of the deck, and it's very efficient. I don't think I need to say much more about that. It's just a really, really good card. All right, next one is another one I really like. It is this 5-drop Tifa from set 2. It is a legendary. Again, a 3 of for legendaries. So currently we have 3, 6, 9 legendaries already in this deck. Nope, 10 legendaries actually, because Vaughn's a legendary. But anyway, as I said, it's a little heavy, but this one's just a very efficient card. 5-drop for 9,000 power. When she attacks, choose a forward, and it can't block. So even if they have a low drop, you can attack with Tifa, make it to where it can't block, and then swing in with Zidane or Yuffie and get in there for a bunch of damage. And then she has a Falcon Dive as an S ability. It's 3 red and discard one of her. All forwards of cost 3 or less can't block this turn. So if you can do that, you can actually get Yuffie and Zidane through very, very easily. And we have another legendary here. It's Zack. Zack is here simply to find you Cloud cards, really. I mean, he's a 5-drop for 8,000 power, which isn't great. When he enters the field, all forwards you control gain 2,000 until end of turn, so he does give himself 2,000 until end of turn, but, unless you give him haste, he's not going to do much that turn. But when he dies, so when he's put from the field into break zone, you may search for one card named Cloud of cost 4 or less and add it to your hand, or play it onto the field dull. So just an efficient card to go grab this Cloud and put it into play if you don't already have it, or to grab another Cloud so you can discard to do his ability. So that's our spread of forwards. I do think that there's a couple changes that could be made here. I think that the Vaan and the Zack are not 100% necessary. They might be better served, like the Vaan might be better served as another Cloud, just so you'd have a full 6 there. The Zack, I like it because you can go grab a Cloud, but as a one-of, it might just be better to have another Cloud. But either way, I think that this is a good start at the very least. I do like the way it plays so far. I have played it a few times. So the spread seems pretty nice. All right, let's jump into the backups. And the backups of this deck are pretty, I'd say pretty standard for the most part. There's not anything too surprising in here. I do have a simple one of Cosmos, just as an early play, so that you don't get screwed on either type of crystal power that you need. But essentially it's just a City of Brass type of thing, just throw in there just in case. You could easily replace that with one of either other color. It's just one of those things I like to throw in there just in case. It is kind of inefficient because if you get it late and you already have 5 backups, you can't play it and you can't discard it to give mana, but I think it's a good as a one-of. Again, I don't think I'd do more than that. But I do like having that one. That is a heroic from set 1. And then we've got an archer. Again, with what we went over on the other deck that I went over, this archer is literally just to kill problem backups, mostly Minwu. It's a common from set 1. Very, very simple. One that you want. I like having 2 of. I could see going up to 3. Not too many more than that, though, I don't think. Next one I've got is Baralai. He's a set 1 starter card. I like this guy because he can kind of turn the tide a little bit. I do like him as a 2 of, and basically you can not activate him. You can dull him and sacrifice him to choose up to 2 forwards and activate them. So he could just kind of, if your opponent's not paying attention, he can kind of blow them out a little bit. They just have to be kind of wary of that. Also, a lot of these that you can sacrifice to do other things, I do like having those so that, if you pull Cosmos later, you can get rid of one of those and play her out or something. So I do like that. The next one I have is a one of. It's Aerith, the 2-drop common from set 1. This one's only in here as a discard for an S ability of another Aerith, which we'll get into. But I do like having that one extra copy. Alright, then we've got our first red one here. We've got a 2-drop Vivi from set 3. It's a common. I do like this one because it's an EX burst and it's a backup, so it's really, really good. But this one is very simple. It's when Vivi enters the field, choose 1 forward, opponent controls, deal at 5,000 damage. So just very cool for getting rid of low drops, like we talked about. You want to get rid of all the low drops so that your Zidane and your Yuffie can get through. But I do like having the full 3 of there. The other one I have is Cannoneer. I like having 2 of these. This is another common from set 3. I like having 2 because it is a little pricey. So it's a 2-drop backup, and you tap, you pay 3 red, and you dole him and sacrifice him and deal 5,000 to 2 different forwards. So he's a very good card for, again, getting rid of those low drops. I do like having just 2 of those because we've got the Vivis in there, and that's also an EX burst. So I do like having 2 of those. Next one we have is Red Mage. You'll see this a lot in any deck that I put red in, just because it's very, very efficient and can turn the tide pretty well. So it's a 2 cost backup, and you tap, you pay 1 red and 1 other, and you choose a forward, and it can't block this turn. So if they have 1 low drop and a bunch of high drops, you can make the low drop not be able to block, and it's very efficient. I've been considering going up another one on that by getting rid of one of my higher drops here. But I do like what we've got so far. The next one I have is a 3-drop. It is a Black Waltz 2 from set 3. It's a rare. It does have an EX burst as well, so when he enters the field, choose 1 forward opponent controls, deal 3,000 damage and 1,000 damage for each card in your opponent's hand. So this is a really, really efficient removal spell or removal card at pretty much any point in the game, really, depending on what kind of strategy they're playing. It might get rid of one of their biggest guys, and it is an EX burst, so I do like that. That is a very good card to have in there. Again, just trying to get rid of their low stuff so we can get through with some of the more efficient things. Next one is no surprise to anyone. It's this 3-drop rare Aerith from set 1. And I don't really need to go over this, but she basically readies 3 backups when she comes into play, and then she has the Planet Protector, which is activate all your forwards and give them hexproof. So very, very good, efficient green backup card. I love this card, and I put it in pretty much every green deck. So it's very, very good. The next 2 are one-ofs, and I've been considering just playing... I'll explain in a minute, but the next one I have is a one-of. It's Maria. She is a 4-cost heroic from set 1, and she just gives all of your forwards 1,000 power. Okay? Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're running low drops like I've got in here, that can kind of make a little bit of difference. I like having it in there, but I think that maybe having another Devout is probably a better bet, because essentially, at the time you're going to be playing either one of these, it's going to cost the same. It's going to cost you 2 cards most often, right? So I've been considering putting another Devout in instead of Maria. But essentially what Devout does, it's a 5-cost backup, common from set 1. When it enters the field, choose 1 forward of 2 or less from your break zone and play it onto the field. Most of the time you're going to use that for Zidane. Sometimes maybe, the 2-drop Cloud if you played it. But most of the time it's going to be used for Zidane. So that's our backup spread, I guess you could say. I like it. It seems to be efficient. It seems to not get too... it seems to get a good mix most of the time. So, and that's kind of what you want. So there's that. And to round it all out, we do have our summons now. So the first summon is one of the more efficient removal spells out there. It is Brynhildr. It is a rare from set 1. It's an EX burst. Choose a forward, deal at 7,000 damage for 3. Just a very efficient removal spell. Pretty much most red decks that I play are going to run some number of Brynhildrs, just because it's really efficient, and it is an EX burst, right? So, and continuing that theme of returning 2-drops, I do have a single copy of Phoenix. It is a heroic from set 3, and it's 4 cost, and it says choose up to 1 forward of cost 2 or less in your break zone, play it on the field, and deal 2,000 to all the 2,000 damage to all forwards opponent controls. That second part, not going to kill too much unless they're playing a bunch of 1-drops. I mean, which I guess is possible, but most of the time not going to do too much. But I do like the returning it, and the 2,000 could kill something that's been damaged already. So say like you've, played one of the Vivis or something and done 5,000 to a bigger guy, and then you play that to get something back, and it ends up killing it. So, you know, there's a couple applications for it, but most part it's just getting that 2-drop back. Now we have our 4-drop Alexander. This is a 2 of, and it's a 4 cost that just choose a 4 to cost 5 or more and break it. A very efficient card, but it is limited to cost 5 or more. I've run into points where this is just a dead card, so you just end up discarding it. But a lot of times people will have 1 or 2 big guys in their deck as like a finisher. So holding on to one of those in your hand is not a bad idea for late in the game. Then the next one is the legendary Valefor from set 1, and it just returns all forwards to your hand, to their owner's hand. So this is one of those ones where if they're playing a swarm strategy, you're just like, oh crap, you know, let's return everything to their hand, you know, and hopefully stabilize from there. But it's just a really good card. Also, it ended up a couple times when I played this where I got to Thoughtseize them again with the Zidane, things like that. So very good card. And then finally, we've got Bahamut. As I said, it is another legendary from set 1. This one's just an excellent removal spell. So it's choose up to 2 forwards opponent controls. Deal them 10,000 damage each. If they are put from the field in the break zone this turn, remove them from the game instead. So it just exiles 2 problematic forwards that your opponent controls. So that is the deck. Again, I'm calling that Lightly Cloudy with Wind and Fire. It's a really dorky name for it, but it works out. Now, just another quick note. Bahamut costs 9, but when you have Fang out, it only costs 7. So it is a little bit more efficient. If you have 5 backups, you can tap all of those and just discard 1 card to play it, rather than having to still discard 2 cards. So a little bit more efficiency there. But that is my Lightly Cloudy with Wind and Fire deck. I hope you liked it. I hope you like my videos so far. This one is the second one of a series I've been doing. I have one more deck that I'm going to do hopefully this week, and then I've got another deck that I'm still tweaking a little bit that is mostly set 3, so I'm hoping that you guys will enjoy that. And but until next time, I hope you enjoy these. Let me know in the comments what you would like to see, or if you want me to build decks around certain cards. My friend yesterday was trying to get me to try to build a deck around Palom and Porom, because, you know, Palom, I believe, no, it's Porom, I believe, can just do damage to your opponent by doing certain things. So I was looking at that and trying to see a way if I could get it to work, but I haven't figured it out yet. But if I figure it out, I'll let you guys know, and I'll do a deck tech on it. But all right, until next time, I hope you guys have fun playing some Final Fantasy, and I'll talk to you soon.